As another Navaratri goes by, we notice that, as always, as in every year, Durga is worshipped with great pomp and great celebration, and people make various kinds of prayers and supplications to this Devi. The question, however, arises: who is Durga, and what is her place as far as the Vedas are concerned? Why is it that Durga occupies this special position, and what exactly is Durga's role in the wider spiritual cosmos of Sanatana Dharma? Durga is known in the Vedantic and Vedic texts as Maya Shakti or just as Mayadevi. Now, what's the reason for this? We shall delve into these reasons now. Durga is created by the will of Shriman Narayana. It's a particular Devata pada, it's a Devata position. So in every kalpa, the occupant of this position is a different Jivatman, and that Jivatman has done so many penances through so many lifetimes and therefore is worthy of occupying that position. Just the way an Indra is born, just the way a Kubera is born, an Agni is born, or even a Brahma is born, the same way Durga emanates by the will of Shriman Narayana. Durga's position is a little complicated to understand. It's not very straightforward, unlike, say, Brahma's position. Durga Devi's position is one where she is endowed with controlling various forces of nature, which are under the direct control of Shriman Narayana. And by performing his will, she has to control these forces of nature and make them behave in certain ways with respect to all other Jivatmans, in order to force them to expiate their own karma phala. Her role is thus, you can say, the role of an army general. If you compare Shriman Narayana to the emperor of a realm, she is one of his greatest army generals. She performs his will in this manner. Durga Devi's role is not straightforward in one sense, because we have seen in many Puranas, such as Bhagavata Purana or even in Mahabharata, even in the Itihasic texts like Mahabharata, and even in the Sthala Puranas of various temples, such as the famous Divyadesa temple, Tanjai Mamani Tirukkoil in Tamil Nadu, that Durga is known to help Rakshasas and Asuras by giving them boons to enhance their powers, even when they are going to do evil, and she is very well aware of it. But then she is also seen in other places, in other parts of the Itihasas and other Puranas. She is seen doing good, protecting dharmic people from Asuras and Rakshasas. She does both. One may wonder why. In the infamous episode with Kamsa, when Kamsa is killing all the children of Devaki and Vasudeva, the penultimate child to be born is Durga Devi herself. She flies out of Kamsa's hand and she takes her form, the form of Durga Devi, and she warns Kamsa, saying, the man who's going to kill you is being born somewhere else. And she goes away. There she warned him. She could have killed him. She did not. She merely warned him and went off. And that warning itself drove Kamsa even more mad. It drove him even madder. And he started doing even more evil. Durga Devi is seen doing this in many places. Why? Because that is the nature of Maya. Maya is the sum total of all the Asuric and Rakshasic forces that are an intrinsic part of Prakriti. So explains Bhagavan Ramanujacharya in his Bhagavad Gita Bhashya. And it is these tendencies of Prakriti that make Jivatmans behave in a certain way, irrespective of which body they've taken, whether they are humans or devas or animals. Why do we see a malevolent side in nature? It's because of Maya Shakti, and she is endowed with the position of controlling these Shaktis from time to time. And thus, it is her Dharma to behave this way. This is a broad representation over here about the various things that Durga does. She protects some creatures, she powers some creatures, good and evil alike. When she powers an evil creature, now a question will arise: why will she give powers to an evil entity? The reason is simple. It is that entity's karma performs certain actions as the will of Shriman Narayana is. It is that entity's karma to perform certain actions, and Durga speeds it up. She hastens it. If a Rakshasa has to die at this particular period of time, and if in order to be killed by Mahavishnu himself or by Shiva or by some other Deva, if that Rakshasa should perform certain actions as a prerequisite, Durga will hasten it by making him go perform certain actions. That is the reason why she ensnares Rakshasas and Asuras by giving them various powers from time to time. She in reality is not on the side of evil, but in order to make them dig their own grave quickly, she will do it. She is known to give celestial weapons to various people who do penances for them, good or bad people, good or bad entities. And she even uses her own penance abilities to power those weapons from time to time. The strange part in this is that the Pancharatra Agama Shastra, a Vedic agama, which is followed by Vaishnavas even today, states that Shri, the eternal consort of Narayana, who sits in his chest, commands Sudarshana to endow these types of powers in Mayadevi, that is Durga, and Durga in turn is performing their will by going and investing these powers in various places in Prakriti. She will use some of it to fight battles with some asuras. She will use some of it to give boons to some asuras. She will use some of it to protect some good people. She will use some of it to further her own penance. She is a Jivatman. In this manner, she has to go about performing her own Dharma. And thus, this is the nature of her Devata Pada, her Devata position. She belongs to a class of very powerful entities, very powerful devas, known as, you can call them as Maya Devas, because these are devas who control the Maya of Shriman Narayana. And they control it in such a way that, like how she performs a set of dharmas, interacting with Shriman Narayana's Maya and making and channelizing those Maya Shaktis to act in a certain way. So do these other devas. Who are these other devas? Shiva is one such. Shiva and Durga's own son, Skanda, is one such. Shani Deva is one such. And there are a host of Maya Devatas that are under them who perform their will. The various Graha Devatas, such as Shani Deva himself, is often seen in various Puranas as being controlled by Shiva, or being controlled by Durgadevi, or being controlled by Skanda. These are all Maya Devas, and they do these functions. They are acharyas to some asuras and some rakshasas and some devas and some humans. They are benefactors to some extremely dharmic souls. They ensnare rakshasas and asuras into doing things by giving them boons that seemingly help. And they are revealers of great wisdom. We see that in the Pancharatra agama, the Ahirbudnya Samhita is revealed entirely by Shiva to Narada. The same Shiva who taught Ravana how to use celestial weapons, knowing full well that he is going to do evil and dig his own grave faster. They have to tread, these Maya Devas have to tread a very fine line in that they themselves do not fall to adharma, while watching many of their own followers, such as Ravana, performing adharma, knowing full well that they are doing it in order to dig their own grave. An example of a very powerful Deva of this type is, again, Shiva. Like Mayadevi, his purpose is multifold. He is not only a performer of all these acts, his most important role rather, is the role of an Acharya. She teaches sages various secrets of the Vedas, and he is an Acharya or Bhagavan Shriman Narayana, and one of his greatest duties is to guide souls, Jivatmans, to go towards him. Shanideva is another such. Shanideva's actions, in fact, leave a trail of, unpleasant events, not because he is unpleasant willingly. He is doing his duty of making Jivatmans expiate their evil karma, and when he makes them expiate their evil karma, it results in them behaving badly and misfortunes befalling them, and therefore he is associated with misfortunes. In reality, he is a dharmic person. You need to know this. And he's a Graha Devata. What's a Graha Devata? A Graha Devata is a Devata whose entry and exit into the various lokas is denoted by the movement of the various Grahas in the cosmos. You have Skanda, like Shiva and like Durga, he has various roles, and like them, he is also a scholar of the Vedas. What we need to understand, finally, about the true nature of Durga is that while she has a plethora of powers at her behest, and she can dole out various favors to various entities, the greatest gift in her possession is making a person dharmic and become a Narayana Bhakta, because she herself is one of Narayana's greatest Bhaktas. And therefore, we need to remember at the end of this Navaratri period, whenever you worship Durga, please ask her to always be dharmic and move towards Vaikuntha by expiating all your evil karmas, because this is actually her greatest gift in her possession, and this is the greatest blessing that she herself is very happy to give, because she knows that when she blesses someone in this manner, her Lord and Master Shriman Narayana and her mistress Shri are extremely happy with her and are extremely proud of her. Wishing you a very happy Navaratri at the end of Navaratri, and looking forward to a prosperous Vijayadashami. Shrimate Narayanaya Namo Namaha.